This is Ashton Marcus, and I'm on location at the Met Theater for their presentation of The Interference. Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI, 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Kathy Thomas Grant, Pepperdine University, Director of The Interference.
Question, what drew you to this piece? Why did you decide to do it?
Well, I commissioned Linda Radley in the fall of 2014, and we met 2 or 3 times over the course of 2014 and the spring of 2015, and this is what she decided to write on. It started as a topic of everyday sexism on university campuses. There is a YouTube video of Lads on a Bus, which deals with the Sterling football team, soccer team, and this kind of just sparked something in Linda, and she decided to write on this issue.
If my viewers decide to come and see this piece, just a second, what would they see?
They will see the story of Karen and all the different twists and turns that happen in a case about that's brought before charges on a university about sexual assault.
This seemed almost like it was a real story opposed to it being fiction.
Yes, it is a compilation of many stories based on research that Linda and the cast have done. It's interesting. The Stanford case with I think it's Brock Peters, came out just after we had workshopped this play in January and February of 2015. And then the questions came out. Linda had written these questions for Karen long before that happened. So it is a compilation of a lot of different sexual assault cases on university campuses that we've done research on. So it's a compilation of that.
I personally thought it was very fascinating. It was very captivating, and also about when I was in college was the time when people started talking about things like, about having to say yes and having to accept no's.
Right. I think that one of the purposes of this piece is for us to start a conversation about consent and what does consent mean, and being able to understand what giving consent means, even. Not even just understanding no, but understanding how to say no, and that you can say no, and that you can say no whenever you want to say no. And I think it's really important, and I think it needs to start at a young age. I think you need to teach your children how to protect their bodies and to say no and don't do that. I don't like that. Even if I was thinking about one of the things, I used to tickle my son a lot when he was a kid, and he would like, stop, stop, stop. Well, I wouldn't stop. I'd just keep tickling him. But if I was to do it over again, I would stop and then check with him to see if he wanted me to continue it. So it starts that young, I think. When kids say no, we need to acknowledge that and teach them the power of that word. Linda Radley's sort of message is, what is consent? And then when these cases come up, we do have these inherited ideas about the survivor. And you have to think about your own head, and when you see somebody walking down the street and you think, oh my God, look at what she's wearing, she's asking for it, right? Or students that come out of a classroom and say, man, I raped that test just now. Well, you don't use that kind of language. It's all very, we have to hold each other accountable for that. And also just have a dialogue about it. We need to start talking about it.
I was thinking back in the old days, and back in the old days when they said, don't have sex until marriage, and even in the Army where it says, well, you can't bring women in the barracks, period. It doesn't matter what, you could be 30 or 50 years old, you still can't bring women in the barracks. And I was thinking, maybe this is a prudish example of trying to solve things, but then I thought to myself, why did they come up with things like that? Could it possibly be that this has happened before? Maybe thousands of years before? This has always happened?
It has. Yeah. Absolutely. Rape is, as it says in the play, it's not about, it's about power. Rape is about power, and rape is used, well, we know it's used as genocide in Bosnia, those women were raped. It's used in war. It's again, women as property and owning women and controlling these women and controlling women, and that's happened all through history, hasn't it? Way back to the Bible. I mean, it's been with us forever, and I think we really need to talk about that and to see that and to try to change, maybe just one mind at a time even, sort of this view about this power over women, and it's a problem today, right? Too. It's Jeff Baker, who is at the Pepperdine Law School. This is part of his. He's a clinical law professor, and part of his work at Pepperdine is he goes to India and he works with communities about protecting women, and it's a big issue in this world.
I really enjoyed myself tonight. I thought it was riveting. This is only playing for like 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah, I'm hoping all my viewers will come by and see it. I thought it's fantastic.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. And I'm here with
Alexandria Garrett. I just graduated from Pepperdine. This is my third time playing Karen in The Interference as part of the original company. And I just graduated with my BA in Theater Arts with my emphasis in acting.
What's your take on Karen?
She's a survivor, that's for sure. I love that through the entire show, she isn't just a victim. You see her whole personality. She's a multidimensional person, and I have never once been able to play her the same because I'm always learning things about her.
If my viewers decide to come by and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
I think they should expect to see a big heaping whop of truth. It's not going to be comfortable, but it's going to spark a lot of conversation, spark a lot of uncomfortable questions, and even possibly more uncomfortable answers. But I think it's definitely a great step that our society really needs to take right now in regards to sexual assault. And we need to start talking about it, talking about what consent is, talking about if the gray area actually exists. It just needs to be a conversation.
Usually, I always ask the director basically about casting because I feel the story and the casting is like 90% of the play. Mm-hmm. I have a question. Why do you think she casted you in this part?
Actually, the playwright cast me in this. So in Scotland, our Kathy casted a company of actors who were an ensemble, who all had different strengths and weaknesses. And then we spent a week with Linda Radley, who is based in Glasgow, Scotland, and she cast it from there. And, I never actually asked. I was too afraid to. But I know that Linda and I spoke a lot of truth to each other. I shared a lot of private stories, so she knew that I was willing to go there and be vulnerable as long as the truth was being shared. And then I think Kathy just kept me in this character because I knew how emotionally intense it was and what it really needed. And I was already there, as opposed to having to get someone else to start from scratch. I was able to show up with the house that's already built and then redo the interior design, if that makes sense.
Well, I thought you were fantastic. I was riveted by your performance, and I also thought everyone was wonderful also.
Oh, yeah, there are no weak links in this. We are amazing. Our sound artist sits on stage with us doing it live. Our stage manager's up there calling things from like catching a football. This is hands down the most extraordinary cast and company I've ever been able to work with.
I really enjoyed myself. I thought it was riveting. I'm just sad that it's such a short run. I hope it gets extended even longer.
Oh, yeah. Well, that'd be awesome. I think we would all love for this story to keep being told, and not just by us, but every artist deserves a chance to see this, be a part of this, be a part of some real theater activism.
Only problem is this is actually a very large ensemble. For an ensemble this size, yeah. It might be unlikely that they'll be able to keep it all together.
Right. Whenever we did it at Pepperdine University and Smothers Theater, we had a cast of 16, which was crazy, so many people. But its original cast was 12, which even that is huge. But yeah, it'd be crazy.
Once again, I really loved the performance. I loved you and the performance.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
You're welcome, anytime.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. And I'm here with
Caroline Pitts.
And
Addison Culpepper.
And
Jacqueline Ferguson.
Okay. Could I get some kind of brief bio from you guys if you want to say something about yourselves?
So I just graduated from Pepperdine University with a BA in theater and media production. And just moved to North Hollywood.
I also just graduated from Pepperdine. I have no immediate plans, but the general plan is to stay around here and pursue acting.
And you?
I'm currently attending Pepperdine University, and I'm an upcoming junior.
So question, what's your take on this piece?
I think it's a really important piece. I think it's something that a lot of people need to hear right now. I think it's really relevant to what's going on, our political atmosphere. I think that the side of the story that's shown tonight, it's not a very told story.
And what's your take?
I think that it's very, like she said, very important in this moment right now to talk about it. I think it's very good as a conversation starter because a lot of times you don't know how to approach this kind of conversation. So when you see something like this, it gives people the opportunity to have a dialogue of, did you agree with these characters? Did you not? Did you like the story? Did you not? So I think we're doing a good service that we just give people the opportunity to have an opinion on this subject.
And what's your take?
Yeah, I think it's crucial because it's definitely has started debates and has sparked conversations within our audience, within the cast, that wouldn't have otherwise started without this piece. And I just think that it's really important to bring awareness to this topic. Nothing can get fixed unless we make, the mass population aware. So we're taking the step to get there.
I think that it's not something that can happen to one person. I think it can happen to anyone, and you can't always be prepared for it. I think it's one of those stories that's just, there's no way to prevent it other than educating people about this topic. Women, men, it doesn't matter. Everyone just needs to be aware, and then through awareness we can stop it. But it could happen to anyone. It really can.
I think an important lesson I've learned from the research and being a part of this and just applying it to who I am as a young lady in college is, like she said, it can happen to anyone. It doesn't matter if you think you're the strong person or you take all these steps, because I pride myself on being a very tough girl. But sometimes these people, it's their friends that do it to them. And it's not young women's fault is the biggest thing. I think a lot of people blame themselves when it really can happen to everyone. It's not your fault if it happens to you. I think if that reaches any young woman who's afraid to talk about it, that's the biggest getaway from this play.
I think it was important to know there is not one thing that a woman could do that makes her deserving of being raped or something that kind of set her up for being raped. Like I said, it could absolutely happen to anybody, and there's not a set of instructions or rules that we could give you to prevent it from happening. So we just, like I said, we have to be aware.
I really enjoyed the performance. I enjoyed all your performances tonight. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Ashley Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Mallory Irwin. I'm a senior theater and media production major at Pepperdine University, so I study live theater production and film production. I play another young woman as well as 5 other different parts throughout the show.
Okay, what's your take on your characters, the women being portrayed here?
Another young woman is someone who I feel is very much caught up in rape culture. She's a big proponent of the sports team and of Smith. I like to think that they're pretty good friends and that she's his close ally, so she's very defensive when all of these allegations that he's raped someone comes out. And the other characters I play are a little more decent people. I think that they have a more reasonable view, something closer to my view on the issue, which is that it is wrong, Smith is guilty, etc.
It's hard to imagine that a woman would actually be on the guy's side, because even during these interviews, I'm purposely planning not to interview a lot of guys because men are oblivious to this. They have no idea what's going on in terms of the subject. But it's strange to think that a woman wouldn't understand.
Right. Well, sometimes it comes from the culture that they're raised in. Sometimes families can be very conservative and say, if you dress a certain way, then you're asking for it, so always make sure to cover up. There's a line Karen has in the show where she's talking about her dad telling her not to put yourself out there. And I feel like that's something that is told to a lot of women. You're told, bring your pepper spray. If you don't have your pepper spray, it was your fault. If you don't fight back, it was your fault. If you walk outside alone, it's your fault. And it shouldn't be. You shouldn't have to bring the pepper spray. That's the problem. So if you are raised constantly being told that and no one has ever told you differently, then I think that it can be possible for women to blame themselves and to blame other women, even though I personally am not that way.
So question, if my viewers decide to come and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
They should expect to see something that will at least make them think and maybe change their mind and hopefully make them take action.
I love the performance. I thought it was fantastic.
Thank you.
And also, I love the acting. I thought all the acting was actually very well done.
Oh, thank you so very much.
Well, once again, I really loved it. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashley Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
I'm Will Craig. I'm 21 years old. I'm a senior, rising senior at Pepperdine University. I'm an actor. I've done numerous shows at Pepperdine, as well as regional theater back from where I grew up in Arlington, Texas. But yeah, acting is my passion. I played a few characters. I played the coach. I played teammate 1. I played panel member 1. I played online commentator 4. You know, it's really important that whenever you're approaching a piece like this, as delicate as it is, that you cannot judge any of your characters. Upon reading the dialogue and everything, it's important not to judge them. If you judge a character and think, you know, this is a bad guy, this is a bad person, then your interpretation of them is going to be false. It's going to be a farce. And so you have to try your best, even if you don't understand them, if you don't see eye to eye with them, if you don't agree with their point of view. You have to try to understand where they're coming from, and you have to understand who they are, why they think the way they do, so that you're able to approach their roles more honestly, really. So as far as the role of the coach, as far as the role of the professor and the online commentator, I don't see eye to eye with any of those people. I think they're horrible people, but I can't judge them. I have to see them for who they are in this world and what their worldview is. The person I could see eye to eye most with was teammate 1, a guy who really wanted to try and do his best for Karen, and really for society, wanting to speak up about this and not be a bystander.
I really liked that character. He was kind of like, it was almost like he was a victim too. He was kind of being bullied, pressured.
Yes.
He was like put in a bad situation, but I think he knew the right thing to do, and maybe he chose the wrong path.
He definitely could feel. You heard the line he said, "It didn't sit right in my gut, but then I just let it go," you know. That's what you call the bystander effect. When you see something going wrong and you choose not to act, that's the bystander effect, which is originally what this play was going to be about, with everyday sexism, but then it became more and more about sexual assault. And being the bystander effect is still as much of a factor in sexual assault as it is in everyday sexism. But he really struggled with that because he knew what he was supposed to do, but there was such intense pressure from his teammates, from society, from the program, that if he were to out this player, if he were to stand up and say, he did it, I was there, I saw it, he knew that the repercussions for him would be just as bad, or maybe not as bad, but either way it would not have been pretty for him. So he was grappling with that he knew what was right, but he had never in his whole life been told, hey, I need to step up in these kinds of situations and take responsibility.
Well, I really enjoyed the performance. I really loved your performance in it also.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
I appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI, 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Dakota Dickerson. I am just a recent graduate from Pepperdine University, here with The Interference for the 3rd time. I performed in Scotland with it, and then I brought it back with the rest of the cast to the States here, and then we're finally premiering in the Hollywood Fringe. I play a multitude of characters in the ensemble. I play one of the internet trolls that's constantly nagging the reporter and Karen. I play the boyfriend. I play the donor, the school donor. I play the ref, and I play the caller. So yeah, a bunch of different characters. When I was being the internet troll, I would try to get under their skin as much as possible and really try to make them break with each and every line. And especially with the donor, I want them to know exactly that I'm pouring money into your campus, so you need to do exactly what I want you to do. You know what I mean?
How about your take on Smith?
Smith, yeah. He can be anyone, you know what I mean? And that's why we kept him out of the show. We didn't make him an actual character. Smith is obviously awful, but at the same time, he's a very real person. You know, people can be regular in the day-to-day, but at night, with alcohol in their system, can be something completely different. So he's a very complex character, and it's not like he's like this evil character, but it's kind of like the situation that we have in society today where men think they can overpower women, and that's what Smith represents. So all in all, Smith is a bad person, but his actions in the daytime don't reflect what he does at night. So
When I first decided to do these interviews, I was actually going to interview the women. I wasn't going to interview that many men because I feel the men are just totally oblivious to this. There's no way you're going to understand what's going on. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yes, exactly. No, that's exactly what we're saying in the show, too. It's like, I can't possibly know what Karen is going through because as a white male, like, it's just not possible. It's the veil of ignorance and how I grew up, nature versus nurture, and this, you know, it doesn't happen to many men. It happens to 1 in 4 women in college campuses, so I understand exactly what you mean.
I really love the performances. I thought all of you were fantastic. I also love the show. And I loved your performance also.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI, 88.9 FM in Irvine. And I'm here with?
Parker Johnson. I'm a junior at Pepperdine, a theater media production major. I played Jerry and a panel member and an online baking person. For my character Jerry, I really drew inspiration from my dad. I'm from Alabama. He's a huge Alabama fan, so I grew up with him just like yelling at the TV and stuff, and he has a southern accent, so I kind of have a southern accent, so I just exaggerated it a little more, and I just drew the love for football as Jerry's motivation for being against Karen. I think most of the characters throughout the play are against Karen, and there's those small moments when there are people on Karen's side, and I think that really reflects how real-life cases are.
If my viewers decide to come and see this piece, what should they expect to see?
They should expect to see a powerful piece. They should be warned that there is descriptive language, and it might trigger something if somebody has experienced this, but overall I think it's a piece where the audience is left with a message and a motivation to go tell the world about it.
I thoroughly enjoyed the piece. I enjoyed you in it also. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
The Interference will be playing at the Met Theater for 3 days only, June 6th, 7th, and 8th. For more information, go to www.hollywoodfringe.org/projects/4752.